Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu ala
Waalaikumsalam.
rasulillah amma ba'du. Okay, thank you. Before we're going to explain our presentation, we want to introduce ourselves. My name is Muhammad Abdullah Fakih, and then my friends, Miss Konita, and then my friends, Habibi, and then my friends, Mr. Fernanda. And before we're going to our presentation, we directly to going to our presentation. The first speaker is going to Miss Konita Maulana Fitri. Time is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Konita Maulana Fitri. Now I'm going to explain about assessing grammar. The following tests are some of the most common types of objective items used to test awareness of the grammatical features of the language. There are 9 tests: multiple choice items, error recognition, rearrangement, completion, transformation, items involving the changing of words, broken sentence, pairing and matching, and combination item. The test above is for the ability to recognize or produce correct forms of language rather than the ability to use language to express meaning, attitude, emotion, etc. Okay, the first one is multiple choice items. The type of multiple choice item favored by many constructors of grammar tests is the incomplete statement type with a choice of 4 or 5 options. There are 7 types of multiple choice. The first type is this one. And for type 5, is not recommended since it requires the testees to spend time on unnecessary reading. Not only is it uneconomical, but it does not present the problem as clearly as item type does. The following method is useful for testing short answers and responses. The type number 6 and type number 7 requires the student to select the alternative which is true according to the information conveyed in each sentence. It may be argued that an understanding of syntactical patterning is just as necessary for the following item. So this is the example of type 7. And then next, constructing multiple choice items. Okay. Let us ignore the error in the first sentence for the time being and concentrate on the error of tense after hope word. The first step is reduce the length of the sentence and to correct the error and any other errors in the original sentence. Like this, there is a sentence, I hope that you wouldn't mind on such a long period between my last letter and this one. Becomes, I hope you won't mind waiting for so long. And then step 2, write out. The second step is write out the sentence substituting a blank. This is the blah 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 or many dots, it's blank for the area being tested. We write the correct option and the distractor which the student has provided for us. So A, we write 1 the correct answer and 3 or 4 of distractor means the incorrect answers. And then the third step is add another distractors. See, there are A won't, B wouldn't, C shouldn't, D shan't. So among these answers, there is one correct answer. And then the next step is maybe that we replace this shan't, the choice with can't, and we can replace shouldn't with couldn't. And then it may be argued, however, that shan't is acceptable usage among certain speakers, thus giving us two correct options instead of one. And then the next is constructing error recognition item. There are two types of error recognition using multiple choice format. The first type, each sentence contains 4 words or phrases underlined and marked A, B, C, and D. Then the student must select the underlined word or phrase which is incorrect or unacceptable. And then the second type, there is a mistake in grammar of each following sentence. Write the letter of that part of the sentence in which it occurs. This type of error cannot be tested by the first item of the error recognition type. However, there are different ways of correcting many sentences. For example, students may write B or C to denote the incorrect part of the first sentence above, according to which of these correct versions is in their mind. For this reason, Hiten is the book that we are referring to. It strongly advised the test writer to avoid items of the second type. And then the next is constructing rearrangement items. The rearrangement item can be used to test the same features of word order, but the item format becomes a little less artificial. In many cases, it will be useful to change from a multiple choice item format to formal involving some actual writing. And that's all from me. Back to moderator.
Wow, thank you. That is amazing. Great speaker. That's amazing. Very amazing. And then before we're going to the second speaker, now I will call the second speaker. The second speaker is Mitra Bibi. Time is yours.
Thank you so much, Brother Fakih, the moderator. Give the time for me. And then we move to constructing completion items. Completion items. Carefully constructed completion items are a useful means of testing a student's ability to produce acceptable and appropriate form of language. Completion items very useful for inclusion in classroom tests and for exercise purposes. However, sometimes the most straightforward completion items can cause problems in the scoring. And then like put A, D, or some if it's blank only where necessary. If you think that no word should be placed in the blank, put a cross there. You can see the example from the constructing completion items. And the next, constructing transformation items. Mm, The transformation type of item is extremely useful for testing ability to produce structures in the target language. Then the transformation type of item is it can help to provide a balance when included in tests containing multiple choice item. The example number one, I haven't written to you for a long time. It's a long time, blah 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 blah, and others. Next, constructing items involving the changing of words. Item involving in the changing of words. This type of item is useful for testing the student's ability to use correct tenses and verb forms. It is a traditional type of test, but the layout is improved in this particular case by providing blanks on the right of the text for completion. Next, we move to constructing broken sentence item. This type of item tests the student's ability to write full sentences from a series of words and phrases. This type of item tests the student's ability to write full sentences from a series of words and phrases, and thus does not allow the test writer to concentrate exclusively on testing this particular grammatical features which may have just been practiced in class. When setting this item, make sure that the instructions are very clear indeed and provide one of two examples. Students unfamiliar with this particular item format frequently have difficulty in knowing exactly what to do. Next is constructing, pairing, and matching items. This type of item tests the student's ability to select appropriate response to stimuli which would be presented orally in normal everyday situation. Pairing and matching items. The item is more useful for testing students' sensitivity to appropriacy and their awareness of the function of language rather than their knowledge or grammar. Next, we move to combination items. Constructing combination items. These objective type items have long been used in the past test. They should be used sparingly, however, as they involve largely mechanical responses on the part of the student. Note that although the separate sentences are linked to one another by them, the items can hardly be described as being contextualized in any real way. Next, assessing vocabulary. The following tests are some of the most common types of objective item used to test awareness of the vocabulary. Selection items, multiple choice items A, multiple choice item B, sets associated words, matching item, more adjective item, complete item, and the test above is for the ability to recognize or produce correct language vocabulary using learning, reading, speaking, and writing method. That's only from me. Back to moderator. Thank you so much.
Okay, well said. We continue our presentation. Now right here, I will continue this presentation with the third speaker. The third speaker is Mr. Fernanda. Mr. Fernanda, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fake. So next is selection of items. Selection of item is a careful selection or sampling or lexical items for inclusion in a test is generally a most exacting task. The first task of a vocabulary test is to determine the degree to which he or she wishes to concentrate on testing the student's active or passive vocabulary. The next task is to decide whether the lexical items in the test should be taken from the spoken or the written language. Selection of vocabulary can just be thought of as falling into the following row divisions according to the four major language scale. The first is listening, passive or spoken. Second, reading, passive or written. Third, speaking, active and spoken. Fourth is writing, active and written. For example, words with equivalent meanings to the keyword underlined or shown in italics in the sentence but inappropriate in the particular context. For example, I'd like to book to blah 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 in the circle, please. Seats is correct word and chairs is false synonyms. Next is multiple choice items or B. It is useful to distinguish between the following two major kinds of multiple choice vocabulary items. Group A, choose the letter of the word which is the nearest in meaning to the word in italics. So this is multiple choice. Please choose the correct answer. And same like the group B. This section concentrates on group A items and the next sections on group B. The following item types are example of four vocabulary recognition items which fall within the first group. Type 1 in this type of recognition item, the stem is replaced by a picture, 4 or 5 options. This type of item is clearly very appropriate at the elementary stage. And for the type 2, here the stem consists of the definition. The testers have to select the correct option to which the definition refers. Type 3, the stem consists of a lexical item. The testees have to select the best synonym or definition. And the type 4, the stem here consists of a sentence. Hence, this type of recognition item is generally to be referred to the previous three types in so far as the problem word appears in the context. Vocabulary is much more usefully. It is the context that gives specific meaning and reference to a word, thus creating a situation which is as linguistically valid as possible in circumstances. For example, it's rain continuously for 2 whole days. So choose the correct answer. Next, multiple choice items. B. The guidelines given in 5.2 for constructing vocabulary items apply equally for the group B items, now being treated in certain ways. The item sounds for in this section are more difficult to construct than those in the previous sections. The problem is chiefly one of context. Too little context is insufficient to establish any meaningful situation, while too much context may provide too many clues, or both grammatical and semantic. So, for example, first I saw a nasty blah 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 between two cars this morning and the others. Next will be explained by Fakih.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fernanda, for the explanation and the presentation. That's amazing, great, very very good. Now right here I will explain from me. And then this is about that is associated words. Okay, we are going to associated words. Many of difficulties arising from the testing of collection are avoided by the testing of word sets. In such as sudden familiarity with a range of assessment is measured, and then is like this. We make every student know it and very understand it about this vocabulary with this. The type one is recognition and the type two is production, and then uh, when the student is when the student understand about this, there are very we're very understand what they learn. I think that's amazing with the recognition and production, and with this words like son, father, and brother. This is the following list of four words. One word doesn't belong in this list. And then okay, that is said that associated words. We're going to the next slide, matching items. Okay, this slide is matching item is the following the item suffers from testing lexical item from different word classes, while type 2 test mixed bag of tense form each. The result is that for both types of test items, grammatical clues assume correct important. This is can be related with the grammatical before we're going there. I want to explain about the type one. Type one is write the correct word from the following list at the side of each number on your answer sheet. Use each word once only. This is like word like road, accident, travel and turn, side, run, no, and then each other. That is the words it can still have some like following by the each number, and then like poor Tom right was down by this like make matching that words can make word is a very good word, like this in what's the lorry very quickly he asked Tom like that. This they get this is for the number one until the number 10 and the number 20. That is matching type matching items for the vocabulary. I think that's for the matching item. We're going to the next slide. This is for the type 2. For the type 2 is complete the following sentence with the most suitable phrase from the list. I think we make to our student they should to be complete the sentence like this. Did the prisoner manage to blah blah blah? Yes, the police are still looking for him, and then and the student should to be answer the blah 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 is what they put for the answer, and then that is make for the type 2, and then when this like it is much more efficient to test word from the same word class announced only in type 1 or parallel tense forms each the past simple tense in type 2. This the type 2 item could be rewritten as follows. That is, the student should be complete this type. I think when they complete this sentence, they will understand it, what they completed. I think that's, we're going to the next slide. Next slide is more objective item. This is about something like should be objective from this section to contain examples of type of vocabulary item which have appeared in certain tests. While type 1 and type 2 are useful for classroom testing, type 3 and type 4 are rather artificial and should be avoided where possible. Type 1 is word affirmation test items. It's like write a word in each blank. The word you write must be the correct from the word on the left. I think the student should be complete the blank. It's like it's the example like for the number 1, care and be blah 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 when you cross the road. It should be careful. It should be care, and then that there are add some like for, and then that is make become some words, and then like the example in the write down. Can you spare a blank blah blah blah? Peter asked his brother. He told the code that, and then this is this student should be to complete the sentence for become the good sentence. I think that we're going to the next slide. This is for the type 2. Type 2 is some like for the type 1, which within space each space the best word to replace the word underlined in each other, and then this same like the type 1, but the type 2 is like we should to be changed for the some word, something like at once or all of a sudden. And then for the type 2 is rearrangement item. Rearrange the following letters make word. It's something like that. Use each word in a sentence of your own so as to show the meaning of the word. This is, students should be show what they put for the word who they use. I think same like flip, show, party. That is the some word in sentence should be for the meaning for this word. We're going to the next slide. This is for the type 4 definition. Definition is use each the fall is some like this word. Use each of the following words in a sentence so as to show the meaning of the word, like economy, politics, and religion, and then these item types are of very little use, and then because every student sometimes very little this use word, because this is like some not for the number 1 for the first foot, but this are the each foot, each word. I think we're going to the next slide. Completion item. The following type of completion item can be used for the testing of vocabulary tests which present such item in a context are generally preferable for this rarely on single words and. I think the student should be complete something like that item this for the type 1, because when they can complete the type 1, they will know some. It should be like in when we in one first school, in elementary school, some we complete this like test like this test. I think everyone, when we understand about this, they will know what they complete. Something like snakes are one of the blah and blah and blah blah blah. That's it. That's it should be know what the student they what they test. I think this is a very not hard for the student. And then we're going to next slide. The next slide is type 2. Type 2 is like complete each blank with the most appropriate word applicable in the next in the text. It's like conversation. Rosnan and Mohammed is what the day is 17, and then it should like conversation in the elementary school, in the second school. This is so very not hard to like the type 1, and then I think the student can complete this sentence very well. We're going to the next slide. The next slide is continue by before this slide. I think this still be same because the student should be complete the sentence, because this sentence is like we should to add the some word to this complete this section, because when we complete the section, we know we understand it, we understand it, what we complete the sentence, like sometimes like encouraging blah blah blah, we should be adding some word like encouraging breed or anything is now being like blah blah blah. That is should be student to complete this, because and then students should be have to adding the vocabulary very lot of vocabulary, because when they know a lot of vocabulary, I think they wouldn't understand what they complete the sentence. I think that's all for me, and then thank you, thank you. Before we're to close this meeting, I want to tell to thankful to my friend, my friend who are here, and then that's amazing. That's great. It's amazing for our friends. Before to close this meeting, I will say thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.